Hi, Dr. Janet Curcio Wilson here with the 7 themes of Regenesis. So the first theme that I discovered when I entered into dialogue using Carl Jung's active imagination with these paintings is the idea that we need to lean into our grief, which is exactly the conclusion Dr. Joanna Macy came to when she created the work that reconnects, or WTR. I would suggest, if you're interested in knowing more about her work, go on YouTube and search for Joanna, last name, Macy, M-A-C-Y. She was an amazing ecologist and eco-spiritualist. The second theme is that we have to begin to look at the tension of opposites. Anytime you have a polarity, like good and evil, which is in this tree, which I showed to you in one of the previous videos, you have tension. And it's in the tension of the polarity that the divine third transcends, or what Jung called the transcendent function, emerges. We need to hang long enough in our shadow, in our dark side, in the unknown, to be able to elicit the strength and beauty and balance that can be born out of the tension of opposites. The third theme in Regenesis is interconnectedness. This is where indigenous Lakota scholar Four Arrows, Winkape, comes into play. The indigenous who never left the garden engage in reciprocal, respectful reciprocity with all of nature, animals, plants, etc. And yes, this is the area of panpsychism, where even a blade of grass or a rock has consciousness. So we need to look at Dr. Federico Faggine's work in Italy, who is a physicist who is now suggesting that the universe itself has consciousness. We'll get into these details a little later. For now, I want to outline all 7 themes of Regenesis. The fourth one is the gift, economy, and honorable harvest that Professor Dr. Robin Wall Kimmerer wrote about in The Serviceberry and in her other book, Braiding Sweetgrass. The gift economy is something that we look at with reverence, more in an indigenous point of view, where we do not pick the first strawberries we see in a wild field, for example. We wait and make sure that there is enough. The interesting thing is her research indicates that by doing that, we actually service the strawberries. We actually play a role. It's a infinity symbol, a give and a take. It's a very sacred process that the indigenous intuitively know. So when we look at the Tree of Life, we are looking at an intuitive, more indigenous way of being, more felt experiential way, a sensorial way of being. The goal is the balance again, not one or the other, because science sure has done a lot of remarkable things for our lives. However, we are way out on that limb and we need to come back in a little bit and balance it. The fifth theme in Regenesis is the HNR, or human nature relationship. Again, a give and a take. The human nature relationship requires us to be a participant in nature, as the strawberry example I just gave to you suggests. The sixth theme in the story of Regenesis and in the Mandorla pathway, which is the central area and the name of this painting, is Psyche, returning Psyche to nature. Greg Braden indicates that we are made of stardust. He's a cosmologist and a wonderful mathematician and scientist, and his theory is that we're all made of the same biochemical substances, and therefore we are at our optimal ability when we return to nature. So there is a real movement now for us to spend more time in nature, return to our roots, balance our lives and become more at one and take care of nature. So in Genesis, there's this idea of dominance. And now the theologians are saying, well, that was a mistake. It's a misinterpretation of the word ra, which is a Hebrew word that was mistranslated to mean domination over, dominion over, and came to connote the idea of, well, we can go in and we can totally deforest the rainforest. That was never what that meant. It actually means in partnership with. Stewardship isn't even enough. We're not supposed to be the caretaker over the land. We're supposed to be in partnership with. So the seventh and last theme that came out of my research is metamorphosis, which in the last painting of the Tree of Life was indicated by the butterflies and the movement around the circle that was there, if you want to look back at that one. The metamorphosis of personhood and mind to include all living beings. These are the 7 themes of Regenesis in a nutshell, and we'll get to more of that hopefully when my book is published, Regenesis, From Chaos to Conscious Co-Creation. Thank you.